In this video, I'll show you how to take the basic due diligence agent that we created last time and improve it by adding your own unique insights, what you might consider alpha, which allows your agent to actually perform better than a standard LLM model. And this idea of insights or alpha is actually critical to all ways that we use AI so that we can get relevant and aligned responses rather than just basic LLM responses, which are essentially the average of the internet. I'll also show you how to create subagents. Subagents are awesome because it's like going out and hiring 10 or 20 very specialized agents that you can spin up all at the same time to go perform very specific tasks and come back to you with the information. It allows us to work a lot faster with Claude Code, but also allows us to produce drastically better results. In this video, you'll know how to add alpha to your due diligence analyst agent. That's the unique insights and expertise that make your firm or your company special. And you'll also know how to design and develop subagents. Subagents allow you to define a very specific job, and then you can spin up 10, 20, 30 of those subagents to go and do something like customer analysis. And then you'll see how it all connects together, because after the agents go and perform customer analysis on several of these customers, it produces a nice detailed report on those customers, and it loops back in the BrainLift or the alpha analysis that we created in the first place to make this agent unique to you and to your company. Let's start with adding alpha to this due diligence agent. So there are a few ways that you can go about this, but ultimately what you're trying to do is instill the insights and unique perspectives that you or your firm has in the decisions that you make. This is what makes you special. This is what makes you have better decisions or better outcomes than other private equity firms or other companies, other product teams, depending on how you might be reusing this video for the space outside of private equity. If you don't do something like this, your results are just average. The due diligence agent is going to produce interesting outputs, but it won't be aligned to your firm's thinking. It won't have any unique insights. So this is a critical step in creating a due diligence agent. It's also critical for any way that you use AI. So the way that we set up these files inside a Trilogy is actually something that we call a BrainLift. So I'll walk you through what that looks like for us. There's many ways that you could set this up though. So the first thing I'm going to do is actually go and find my BrainLift, and I can just very simply drag that into here. And now it's available in my Claude project. As you can see here, I've generated this insights and expertise BrainLift using Claude because I actually don't want to reveal my insights publicly. It is, again, what kind of makes the work that we do unique, and it is proprietary. So I'll just delete that. The way we've structured this is two very important things, which I think you would want to continue to use when you create a file like this. Number one, the purpose. So why are we giving Claude this file, or why is anyone on your team using or reading this file? Number two is your spiky points of view. What are the things that if you presented these to a team of experts, they wouldn't all agree on them? So these are supposed to be direct, spiky, and elicit this response where half of experts would say, you're probably wrong. And these are the things that make your vision and your perspective unique. Beneath that, we've got what goes into depth of knowledge 3, which are insights, depth of knowledge 2, which are summaries, and then DOK 1, which is just essentially facts. That's the way that we build up our BrainLifts. I won't go through all of that right now, but I do find it valuable to include this entire large document as something that the Claude Code has access to. Now that we've included the BrainLift, what we can go and do is just tell Claude Code a little bit about it and let it know that it's there and that we want it to utilize it when it's doing its analysis. So if you are just starting up Claude Code again, go ahead and hit Claude, type Claude. And if you haven't installed Claude Code and you haven't watched my previous videos, you can install Claude Code in under 10 minutes. using the video in the description below. Super easy to do. So now that Claude is started, what we're going to do is we're just going to ask it to please evaluate this BrainLift and update the claude.md file so that it's part of the instructions, part of the job description when you start this due diligence agent up. So what I've said, I've added a new BrainLift file. It contains all of my unique insights and alpha for how to win when doing due diligence. Please update the claude.md file so that the agent always considers the DOK4s and DOK3s in this file when doing analysis. I hit enter and Claude will understand what I mean by BrainLift. It'll go ahead and search and find that file, and then it'll do some work to find the DOKs, and it'll update claude.md so that every time we spin up Claude Code, remember the claude.md file is like the job description, the JD that you're giving Claude. So it knows what it's supposed to be doing and how it's supposed to act, the type of outputs it should produce for you, and generally how it should behave. While Claude's updating that, I'm going to walk you through a few of these completely invented spiky points of view so that you can see how they actually impact the analysis when I run it near the end. So our spiky points of view for private equity due diligence are: 1, customer support quality is the single most predictive alpha signal. Interesting. Number 2, technical debt is an opportunity, not a risk. I think that's interesting as well. Number 3, founder mode premium is real and quantifiable. And finally, I know there's a few more, but number 4, employer retention patterns trump financial metrics. Okay, I totally disagree with that one, which is actually a good sign of a spiky point of view that AI came up with. So you will see how when we do our analysis, all of these spiky points of views then start to shape the way this due diligence agent is actually working and the outputs that it provides. It will align with this worldview of ours. Great, now we can see that Claude Code is finished, updating the claude.md file, and it's telling the agent that when it starts up and when it does analysis, it needs to incorporate aspects of this BrainLift so that it follows our own insights. Now that that's done, we can go ahead and manage our context, which, if you remember from the last video, is extremely important because all of this information is not relevant to the future steps that we'll be doing. That's why we went and updated the claude.md file so that we don't have to keep all of this information in chat context. So when we hit clear, it's as if none of those conversations happen. Claude reloads claude.md, and now it is a due diligence agent that has our spiky points of view and other BrainLift context already loaded into it. Now let's go ahead and create a subagent. As I said at the beginning, a subagent will let us basically hire an AI agent with a very specific skill set. You can get this AI agent or subagent to do very specific things and use specific tools like web search, fetch, or MCP servers you might have hooked up. And the nice thing about subagents is you can spin up 10, 20, or 100 of them to all do the same task. So the example I'll use for this subagent is actually a customer analyzer. Let's say we have a list of customers from our target, and we might want to go out and analyze what that customer list looks like, pull in firmographics from other data sources, and build a customer analysis the way we might want to analyze them for our own due diligence. The easiest way to get started with agents is you just use the built-in slash command, /agents. Now you can hit enter, create new agent, and we want this to be in the project, and we'll generate one with Claude. So in this field, you just describe what you want the agent to do, and it will set it all up for you. I have something prepared, and I've just pasted it into there. It basically says create a customer analysis subagent that analyzes a list of customers that it will find in the data room and uses web search to find more firmographic data points about those customers and builds an analysis, making sure that it creates the analysis in a new file so that we can keep it separate. So I'll hit enter and Claude Code will go ahead and work to generate that agent from our description. Other agents we might want to build include maybe a legal HR specialist, maybe just a contract reviewer, a technical specialist that's reviewing architectural diagrams or even code bases. And again, all of these agents can have access to a wide variety of tools. As you see here, it's asking us if we want to give it access to any of these tools. At this stage, we're just going to say, give it access to everything and continue. Generally, I want my agent to have access to the best model. If you are cost conscious, or this is a very simple exercise where maybe speed matters, you can choose a different model. When our agents get spun up, we can see them in the sidebar, and maybe we want them to be a specific color. For our customers, I'll go with purple. And now we're ready to go. I can push enter to save, and we have our agent ready to go. So the agents are stored within the .claude directory in the agents folder. We can go ahead and look at what Claude actually created here. It has a name, it has a description, which Claude uses to understand what it's going to actually be doing. And you can see that there is basically a job description. So what is the purpose of this agent? What should it be doing? What tool should it use? How should it perform certain actions? So, your work assignment sub-agent is to actually first go and check, are there existing agents running? Is there an existing file that's being used? Because if so, you should be using that file. Go and claim the customers you're going to analyze. And I'll show you how we do this and how that works. And so it tells it step by step what we'd like it to do. It's going to go ahead and find this information on the internet using web search, and it will put it all together into a file for us. So back into the sidebar here, we can go ahead and hit escape to exit out of agents. We will clear, even though I don't think there's any context window to clear. Now our agent is ready to use. So now to run this, I can tell Claude Code, hey, Claude Code, spin up 2 customer DD Analyzer agents to analyze the first 2 customers in our revenue concentration file. That's all you need to say, because we have provided the JD, this really detailed file, to the agent to help set the whole thing up. So it'll figure out what you're asking for, and it will go ahead and spin up those 2 agents. First, it's finding the customers to actually assign to the agents. You can see it's found the first 2. And now this is really cool. You can see how both of these agents are running. You can see the web search going on. I'm going to go ahead and click, go ahead and web search. So imagine you actually have 10, 20, 100 of these agents all running individually with their own context window, following the agent instructions to go out and do research for you. So you could crush through a list of 100, 1,000 customers in minutes. So we'll let this run. Might take a few minutes, and we'll be back when it's done. So our customer analysis sub-agent is done. It researched 2 companies and provided us the results here. TechFlow, which was a made-up company, but it actually exists, it seems like. It went and found profile information, some financial strength, and some key insights. And for Data Vault Systems, which was also an invented company, interestingly enough, it would make sense, it actually can't verify it even exists. So it doesn't, but that would be something interesting to know if we were analyzing a list of customers that a target had provided us and it can't find the customer at all. It's provided the summary to us. I don't actually see a file that it created to output this. It's just output it into the right panel in terminal here. So I'll go ahead and ask Claude to summarize that in a file. Now that it's output its analysis into this MD file, I probably want to go update the agent to fix if it didn't put its output already into a file. But we can go ahead and see all the details here. So it was a lot more than it provided in the terminal window. We're actually looking at quite a bit of data and information. Of course, you could ask it to put this in an Excel file instead of into a markdown file. It will do it all the same. Actually, I'm going to cut in here and show you what it would look like when the customer analysis is exported to Excel, because that's the way I would want to see it. So we will manage our context window by clearing this. A good rule for clear, by the way, is you want to do it as much as possible. And I have no problem clearing all of that context because the things that I care about are in a file, right? If this wasn't output into a file and I couldn't reference it and it was just saved in terminal, then when I clear it, it would never exist again. So I do want to make sure it's put into a file if I want to reference it again. Okay, now we can just ask Claude Code to literally convert the analysis into an Excel file. Here's what I've said. Convert the analysis into a well-formatted Excel file. I've told it to organize it in a way that lets me add more customers with proper headers. And then I said, just include the most relevant customer information. You can be more prescriptive. You can tell it exactly what you want it to add. And what you could actually end up doing is create a conversion agent that takes markdown documents and converts them into well-organized Excel files where you could outline all your very, very specific rules of the things that you care about. We won't do that today, but I just wanted to show you or explain to you that that would be possible. We'll keep it high level for now and hit enter. Okay, it's done. You can see how it organized it here. I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at it though. It created the file here. I'm going to right click, reveal in Finder, and now I can take a peek. So here's how it organizes it. Proper headings, ARR, percent of top 20. You can see that that's wrong. That's something that we can correct. So awesome. This is really well organized. And now you can see how when we run this agent for hundreds of customers, it can output the information in an organized Excel file that we can send across to the team. Okay, back to the usual video. Closing the loop on the BrainLift and insights, you can see here how it automatically included an analysis based on our BrainLift, based on our spiky points of view, our alpha, the things that matter to us as a firm. It pulled that into the analysis so that it makes sure it's always touching upon our own unique spiky point of views. Now you have a due diligence agent that's trained in your unique firm's alpha, your spiky points of view, your own insights, that also has access to a customer analysis subagent. This is just one of many subagents we will create. I'll show you how to create a financial analysis subagent, a legal subagent. Next video, I'll show you how to create these additional subagents, but more importantly, I'll show you how to create agent skills. Agent skills package expertise into discoverable capabilities. So I'll show you an example where you can create a legal subagent and then give it skills that allows it to analyze very specific types of contracts. Another skill would be it can extract tables and financial data from contracts and then summarize that into an Excel file for you. And you can see how these skills start to extend an agent's ability to do awesome work.